Well, guys, today I'm going to be reviewing episode 9 of Daredevil Born Again. This is the final episode of the season, so this is the season finale. This episode, I'm a little torn between it because on one hand, I liked it. I thought it was good, but the other hand, I thought it was also quite a bit lacking. And I felt the direction and the way they ended it was kind of, jarring because many shows that I have seen, the way they've ended like a season or an episode even in general, there's an actual definitive ending. Whereas this one, it felt like it was weird. Like they were gonna do something, but they're like, nah, let's just skip it and then try it for next time, Like and when I explain what happened in the episode, you guys are gonna understand what I mean by, you know, it felt like they were gonna something was about to happen, then they're like, nah, I don't think we're ready for that. Let's just wait for next season. It's like kind of like telling us that. And this is why it leads into the next season with Kingpin still being around and all this stuff. Um, Also, I want to talk about quite a bit all the characters. Bullseye, a specific scene that was, I think, I'm pretty sure is going to be very popular because Netflix did say that this show is going to be far more violent than the original show and all this other stuff. And I do agree with this episode at least. But it also does kind of irk me a little bit because of a lot of a certain other thing that they could have done better than if that was the case. But I'll talk about that as I get through it. This episode, I kind of actually forgot a little bit about what happened in the beginning. Because the beginning it was quite a bit of talk with like Wilson Fisk and his plans and Vanessa, and then they were also showing Vanessa meeting Bullseye, and he also does mention Agent Nadeem, and somehow Kingpin got acquitted, which makes season three's finale kind of pointless because Matt beat him, said, I beat you, you can never see Vanessa again because you're gonna be in prison and she's gonna be this and that, you reported. And then for them to say he got acquitted is like, really? So did he really beat him? Is like, what is the point of what he's doing? Like, he was contemplating that entire season of he should kill him or not. And then he's like, no, I can still beat him without killing him. And then that was the whole point of the scene of him yelling, I beat you, I beat you. But then now he's just like, we got explained that he got acquitted for it. And then she's like, I could try to get you acquitted too for the whole new thing. How? How? He really clearly killed him. Kingpin had something to do with it. They had like recordings and stuff, but apparently that's enough to get them out of like, legal troubles. It just felt like it was BS just to have him out. And it kind of irked me because now in like season three's ending was kind of pointless for him to do all that and saying, I beat you when he didn't get punished for it anyway. At this point, you might as well just kill the asshole, you know? So that part little was a little weird for me. But yeah, we see Kingpin and Vanessa, and they're like, she's distraught over this thing because she's scared now that he's coming after her. And it's like, well, why would you betray him and shit? Like, you thought really putting him in jail top was gonna stop him and kill him. That was a dumb idea. And then Kingpin's, we see, Matt, he's in the hospital. His, his lawyer partner friend's there and his girlfriend there. They're talking about what happened and the situation. And his girlfriend's still being a dumbass and defending Kingpin because he's talking to his friend. He's like, yeah, we need to go after him in the trial and we have to get stuff on him because we need to stop him. She's like, what do you mean? He's the good guy. He was the one getting attacked. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? You're like, she's so unbelievably retarded. It's just is crazy. She's a psychiatrist, but can't tell that when somebody's doing some fucked up shit. And when it's been exposed to stuff he's done, and then his connections with that, like she sounds like a dumbass. She's kind of pissing me off a little bit with that stupid shit. And she pissed me off, especially later on in the episode. I'm just like, oh, this bitch is a retard. But that's happening. And then Kingpin's fat bitch ass. This is why I hate this motherfucker. He got saved by Daredevil. He didn't have to save him, but he saved him. And then you know what he says? He's like, well, he's in the hospital and he might not make it. So who knows? So he's trying to stop getting him killed. So he tried to get his guy to go kill him. And he's like, maybe if, he ends up dying, it might be more beneficial to the city of a dead vigilante. I'm like, or the fucking fat ass, criminal boss who is the mayor, if he dies trying to do a righteous thing, that would be better for the city. So he's trying to kill him. I'm like, this is why I hate this fat asshole. He literally saved your life when he didn't have to, when you're his worst enemy. And then when he did, you're trying to set him up to getting killed while he's in the hospital. So you're just a dirty fat bitch. So he sent this guy there and he was going to go kill him. I'm like, it's not going to work. Even the injured Matt can, handle himself. So he goes to a hospital and apparently to take him down, they go so far as to basically shut down the power to the entire house kitchen. So the entire like little city has been had power shut off simply so they can go kill him. And he had a poison, but Matt was gone. He ran away. As he runs away, he goes to his apartment. And this is where we see Punisher. And I was like, oh yeah, man, we got Frank Castle up in this bitch. I'm gonna be honest. Every time I saw him, I was hyped as fuck. I love John Bernthal's like, portrayal of the Punisher. I love the little subtle things he does with his character. And this episode as a whole just made me more excited to watch the Punisher series coming out. Because I know that one's coming out this year also, and then next year is the Daredevil season 2, which is a good way to do it because that's just normal, right? So after watching this got me hyped up, but it also makes me think, well, what direction are they gonna go with that show? Because it ends off in a weird way with him. So I'm just wondering with that. But he's talking to him, and then he's, like, giving him shit for, protecting Wilson Fisk, which makes sense, like, for me, I'm like, you coulda just simply let him get shot and killed. I get it, you try to protect people, but you coulda just let him get killed and then focused on Bullseye and the rest of his cop crew. You already have enough threats. Like, why do you need to focus on this guy? But he saved him, and then he's like, "Why you save him?" And, they're kinda going back at each other, and it makes sense, that's how the characters are supposed to be. One guy is completely against killing, the other guy's like, "Fuck them, kill them all." And I agree with Punisher's side 100%. You guys already know that at this point on my channel. But so he hears his cop force coming in to come after him, because he escaped and he's trying to kill him now again. So he goes and suits up, he comes out and starts beating him up, and the Punisher's in the back, blows one of the guy's brains out with a shotgun. So they're both fighting. Matt is just trying to beat them and take them down. And Punisher's trying to kill him, and he's trying to stop Punisher. And Punisher's killing him badass ways. He blasts the guy right through his torso, then smashes his teeth through the fucking counter table, and then blasts his brains in. He's blowing the guy's skull off. He's slitting people's throats, stabbing the fuck out of them, doing beautiful shit. He's stabbing the shit out of them. And it was crazy because when he was killing them, I was getting so intense with it. I was like, you guys should have saw my face. I was getting so hyped and like I had my tongue out because I was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. And the funny thing is the moment he did it when he was stabbing the guy got up, he had the same look on his face, like the look of bloodlust and like pure enjoyment from what he was doing. We both had like our tongue out licking our lips, like, yeah, this is so fucking good. And Daredevil was like, don't kill them. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Let him do his shit. They come in here with shotguns and shit, blasting at you after you protected Kingpin's fat fucking ass for no reason. And you're mad that he's killing them. Fuck him. So he's killing all these guys. He's shooting them through walls. He's getting shot, but he's taking it because apparently, this guy is just bulletproof. He doesn't even need a bulletproof vest at this point. But then Daredevil, I'm like, dude, you're saying that you shouldn't kill, but I literally saw him launch another guy at another dude, hitting that guy's head, smashing it against a brick wall, and you see blood coming out of the back of his head. That motherfucker is dead. I don't know how you're gonna give him shit for killing somebody when you literally did something like that which it could kill somebody. And then earlier you were hanging Muse, you blasted a fucking grappling hook through his chest. I guess nearly killing them into the worst possible way is justified still, but killing them, ooh, that's going too far. But then they caught one of the guys. He was the black cop that we saw. He was like standing out like a bodyguard, and he had the really serious stern look on his face. Apparently, we got revealed that he was the one who killed the White Tiger. So he shot him and stuff. And Punisher noticed when he saw the bullet casing thing, and then Daredevil was like threatening him to tell him, and then he smacked him. And there was a grenade they were fighting against each other, but then there was a grenade that got thrown in, and he saved him. And then they came down, and he's like, Zig, you're an asshole, Frank. And he's like, yeah, I know. I was just laughing, like, that's funny as shit. And then a car pulled up. It was Karen. She called in the favor, which thank you to Karen. And then he's like, so why would you contact Punisher? I'm like, of anybody should help you out is definitely the Punisher. What other vigilante can really help you out? The other ones are like nobodies. He's the only really good one. So he helps them out. As this is happening, they're both leaving. They go to his hideout and he tells them, yeah, get the fuck out of here. He's like, he's like, I'm gonna do my own thing. You guys go do whatever you want. You guys keep on giving me shit for how I'm handling my shit. So get the fuck out of here. I was like, yeah, that's cool because I don't want to see Daredevil step in and try something. Like, no, don't kill Punisher. Like at this point, murk all of them. So Karen and Daredevil leave, and Punisher, does his own thing. This leads them both to their own little journey. Um, and then there's something with the commissioner. The commissioner is because he wants to go against Kingpin. He doesn't fuck with this stuff. He's actually a righteous man. So he pulls up the lady that's working for Kingpin because he's saying that anybody that disagrees with me, the politicians, just kick them out, fire them, and let them leave. And then it's just going to be the crew that agrees with me. So he sent his little bitch boy to go over there and his hitman dude, and they were both basically interrogating the Congress and stuff. And then like right now, what they were saying negative about him to kick them out, and actually blackmail them, not kick them out. He was going to blackmail them, so he was using the blackmail because of their money and where it's going. So he's using it against them. And then the lady that has been contemplating working with him, she basically goes out and leaves, and the commissioner runs up to her and is like, "Hey, work with me. We can work together to take him down and stuff like that." And I was like, "That's kind of dangerous to work with somebody like that." I would have gone to Daredevil first or somebody else. I don't know. I'm not going. Knowing Kingpin, how dangerous he is, how fucked up he is, and how emotional he is, he's like a little emotional bitch. Every time he gets a little emotional, he gets butthurt. That's the thing that pisses me off about him too. He's like a little fucking bitch. He always gets overly emotional, and I just want to see him get his fucking like face smashed in. But that's a good thing for a villain, you know? You want to despise the fuck out of them. I'm just like, oh, he's cool and I love him. It's like, eh, how is he a villain then? But this guy, he's a villain because he makes me want to smash his fucking face into like 1,000 pieces. I want to see him get like his body parts chopped off and be tortured, like by the Muse and shit. You know, that would have been cool to see the Muse torturing this fat fuck. But he basically is trying to get her on his side. Um, she ends up betraying him just like how what's the other lady? Vanessa did it. And then she gives him a recording of that, and I was like, "Yeah, this guy's screwed." I'm like, he shouldn't have trusted her. Yes, she's in more of a position where she's like shaky, but when you're dealing with somebody who's scared and you're dealing with somebody who's dangerous that they're around, you don't try to contact them. Every time in the show when they try to contact somebody that's around them that's scared, they do some bullshit like this. It's like with in The Boys with A Train. When that one guy tried to work with A Train, he basically snitched on him to hold on to like little pussy, and then he killed him. So I was like, anytime they try to work with these weak ass little bitches, they get bitch scared. They're like, I don't like what they're doing, but then I'm getting scared to do this. They always do that shit. So for me, like if I was like a character, if I see these people, I'm not going for them. I'm like, they're too weak. I'm not going around anybody near them because they're pussies and they're gonna be scared and they're gonna just backstab me. So you do that, and I'm like, the commission's fucking done, and they done him dirty, like straight up. So after this, around this time, they're all doing their thing. Punisher goes into where the cop guys are because he's tired of them taking his symbol and then doing this and then trying to say they're doing, justice. Like, and then they're like also giving you praise, like, you're amazing, man. We really respect you. It's like, if you respect him, then why don't you do exactly what he does? He's not, he would never work with Kingpin. He would have killed Kingpin. So if you guys truly respect him, murder Kingpin, murder actual criminals. Because there was one point where there was looting in the town because of the whole, the power being turned off because of Kingpin. They're looting, this one guy's looting a store, and he was like a regular guy, and then one of the cop pulls up and shoots him and kills him. And the other guy's like, Jesus, he's a kid. Why would you kill him? He's like this and that. And then he put his beanie down. He was like, oh, actually he's a mass vigilante. And I was like, see what they're doing? They're fucking going crazy. It's like, you can't say that you're like Punisher when Punisher has never killed somebody for looting. He might knock them out and say, man, you piece of shit, you little punk. And he might beat the fuck out of them, but he's not gonna kill them. Also, one thing I want to mention before when he was doing all the killing stuff, one thing I really loved is he grunts the entire time. The one thing I love about his character, and he mentioned that he added into his character for Punisher, and he told Charlie Cox to do for Daredevil, and now he does it all the time, is the scream. Dude, every time I hear that, it's both funny, badass, and I just love it. I just love everything about it. Every time he does it, as he's beating the shit out of them and screaming in their face, that shit. Because when you see a character like the Punisher, you expect him to be more intense, more aggressive, like have all this energy, and then like aggressive as fuck, like a wild animal. So him screaming and making those noises sounds like something Punisher would do. He would do some animalistic shit because when he goes into his killer mode, he's a beast. Outside of that, he's like very serious and like professional. But once when he kills, he goes all out and he just goes crazy. And I think that fits him a lot. So I really like that about I like that about it, what he added to his character. But then he's going into there, and this fight was honestly kind of dumb because there was a bunch of cops, and they're like, Frank, this is no kill them, please don't this. And then he started killing them all. He started beating the shit out of them. He was killing them in brutal ways, which this makes me hyped for the show because one of the biggest fears a lot of people had is they're gonna keep it more as brutal as it was. Definitely they are. So he's going there, he's shooting people in the face, he's stabbing them, slitting their throats, slitting their guts. This one lady hits him in the face, he bashes her skull in. He throws one of the blades at the guy's face, killing him. He starts stabbing them, but then they're shooting him a bunch and they're basically taking him down. I was like, this is a dumb plan, bro. You could have done some. This is where I kind of, it annoys me a little bit about this show with like the some of the characters being dumb as shit. We know that the Punisher would not be this stupid. Even as aggressive as he is, he's still strategic. When he wiped out the Irish mafia in the original show, he didn't go there guns blazing directly. He shot from outside with a big heavy machine gun. He gunned them down and then came in and started killing the other left and remaining people there, and then he killed them. He wouldn't have gone into a place full of cops with bulletproof vests, riot shields, all this gear, guns and bullets and shit. That was stupid. That made no sense to me. I felt like that was retarded. Like, I love seeing him kill them, but I felt like Punisher, especially when he had the opportunity to come after them, would not do something that stupid. So I felt like that was a dumb decision and the writing for them. And they just kind of made him a dumbass. And they made him a dumbass so he could get captured. And it's like, really? So to get him captured, you had to make him do some stupid shit because I don't know. Like, the only excuse you can make is, well, Punisher, that's how he is. He's aggressive and stuff like, but that's not true. In the comics and in the show that we've seen, he was never that dumb. He would, yes, be aggressive, but the only times he would do that is if he's already in the middle of a situation where they're after him and he has no way to plan. Then he would be going face to face. But usually he would be smart enough to snipe them, like how he did when he was trying to kill that one guy in the hospital with Matt, and he was under the case with him, and he was shooting him from afar. We know that he's not a fucking moron. He would have shot them with snipers or that, or had a grenade and threw it in there. There's no way you can tell me he doesn't have a grenade. All he had was 2 pistols and a fucking blade. You're telling me that's all the Punisher has is 2 fucking pistols and a blade. He doesn't have heavy machine guns. He doesn't have assault rifles. He doesn't have grenades. He doesn't have a sniper. He doesn't have a grenade launcher. He doesn't have all this shit. He only has 2 pistols and a blade. He's gonna come in there full of cops with shotguns and shit. That's retarded. So I feel like that was stupid. I feel like if it was more authentic to how he acts, he would have been more strategic. He would have probably thrown a grenade in there and blown them up. If he had a grenade, one single grenade, he could have wiped those guys out and then gone and killed the rest. But he got captured, and then this is where they're like, "Man, we love you. That you're great. This is why we don't want to kill you. We want you to join our side." I'm just like, are you guys retarded? You work under Kingpin. He fucking hates Kingpin. Kingpin is an evil guy. You know he's evil. Why the fuck would he work with you guys that are working with a bad guy? Do you not understand how he works? And then he said, do you guys know how I think? Do you know how I operate, how I feel, what I went through? He's like, the trauma I went through? You guys don't know anything. You guys are punks. You guys are cowards. It's like, yeah, you guys are fucking retards also. You don't know who he kills. He would never align with this guy. Why would he work with a criminal? He would rather work with Daredevil, who literally Kingpin is against, and that he does not agree with morally. He agrees more morally with Kingpin with the violent stuff, but he would rather work with Daredevil than him. So why would he join you guys? That was the dumbest shit ever. It was the only time I've seen somebody make a stupider offer than this was when Frieza was pulling up on Vegeta and Resurrection of F and said, "Hey, you seem to be having some animosity towards Goku. You want to join my side again?" It's like, what the fuck? Are you stupid? What do you mean? So this was dumb as shit. So now they're beating him because he's like basically telling fuck you guys and he was shit talking them. So they're beating him. He got taken down. Then we have Kingpin going and doing his thing. He's talking to his boys. They bring in the commissioner, one of the guys, the former rookies that worked under him, took him to there. And then he turns around and he starts telling them, he's like, you don't have to apologize to me. You have to talk to the people, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, this guy's cooked. He's going to be done bad. And then he grabs him by his head. He starts squeezing it. It reminds me of the Great Khali when he had his move where he squeezed somebody's head. And he's doing it in his face to get him bloody. I'm like, Daredevil's going to show up, right? He's going to save him. But then I was like, no, but Punisher got captured. He's going to save Punisher. I mean, he's injured right now, but still, like, so I'm like, he's going to save one of them. He saves none of them because Punisher actually gets taken captive. And then this guy gets killed, and he gets killed in the most brutal way. This is what they meant by this is more violent than the other show, because in the other show we saw, him slamming the car door on the guy's head and crushing it. But this one, we see it directly what he did, and straight up, he's crushing this guy's head. Blood is coming out of his eyes. blood's coming out of his ears. He's just holding on. His face is red. I felt so bad for him, honestly. And then he crushed his jaw, ripped it off the, mandible. He crushed it completely, ripped it off, crushed his skull, ripped the skin off of his head and his skull, and then he had his head twisted. Now you can see that there was definitely some CGI in this, and there was CGI blood, which the CGI blood, I don't think it was necessary. They could have just used like blood squids, but this one, I understand why they use CGI. It wasn't overly noticeable, but it's like, what do you expect? Like, he's crushing a guy's skull. It has to happen. So I'm okay with it having CGI and that. The CGI blood, though, the rest of the stuff where you see Punisher stabbing people, I felt like that looks a little goofy. You could have just kept regular like blood squid packs and stuff like that stabs and squirts instead of doing this. Like, especially most of it was in the dark, so you could have hit it, but whatever. So he crushed his skull, and yes, this is the most brutal killing I've seen in, because my mouth was wide open. I usually don't do that. Like, usually brutal shit, like in shows, other people might be like, oh my God, gruesome stuff either gets me excited or it just like has me have no emotion. I'm just like, blank staring at it. You guys have seen my reactions and how I have blank stares all the time, but I would just have that. But this one, my mouth was open. I was surprised that they really went there. And it kind of shocked me in one regard, which I will talk about in the ending. But yeah, he crushed the guy's skull, ripped his head, and, fucked him up, and you just see his face dangling. They're all, like, scared and disgusted. It's like, yeah, you pussies are fucking working for him. And also, it's like, it's funny that they're cops, but the mayor is the more physically violent guy and the more physically dangerous and threatening guy than them. You think the politician would be less physically threatening than the cops, but yeah, they were terrified of him. He killed the commissioner. R.I.P. to the commissioner. Fuck Kingpin. Fuck that bitch that betrayed him. And I feel bad for him. Like, honestly, I know he was a big character, but he was trying to do the right thing, and he didn't deserve to die that way. After that, I was like, yeah, this time Punisher, Daredevil, he thinks that beating him a little. Every time we see him getting beaten, I hope that he gets a severe beating and bruised all the way up. But all they do is get him a little bit of cuts and bleeding a little bit from the eye. I'm like, really? This guy does all this fuck shit, and then it's time for him to get his ass beat. He's bleeding only a little bit. Nothing very gruesome, nothing very brutal. It's just a bit of blood. This time, Daredevil does not crush this guy's skull in, fucking chop off his hands, because he's hanging the muse. He's putting a grappling hook through his chest. If he does not decapitate, he doesn't have to decapitate him, but if he does not mutilate some parts of his body, cutting him into pieces, and then deforming his skull, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be like, you've gone worse on Muse. This guy does all this fuck shit, and every time he has his chance to get beaten up, because we know he's not gonna get killed, but every time he has the chance to get beaten up, it's like the most like inconvenient bruises. It's like little cuts. I it's like he went through a tiny little scrap. I'm like, no, this guy needs to get his shit fucking wrong. He killed that guy in that fucked up a fashion for, he didn't do anything wrong. So you have to do something. Or let Punisher kill him. Like he said, I'm gonna put a bullet in his fat fucking head. I was like, yeah, fuck that fat bitch. But yeah, so he died. So I was like, okay, he didn't save either of them. That's fucking bullshit. So then he shows up to the place, but then Karen's like, you can't do it, you're gonna die, which I agree. And he was shot, and I was like, well, if you didn't fucking protect this fat bitch, he would have been dead, so you wouldn't have to deal with him. And then second of all, you wouldn't have been injured. But you did, so now you're injured. And I was like, I literally mentioned in the last episode, I'm like, I was gonna be able to handle this. It's not like it's like months are gonna pass after this. It's gonna be right after. So he couldn't do anything. He got to fight a little bit, but he just was not in it. And then their whole plan was, yep, we can't beat him, so let's leave. So they run away, which I felt like was kind of dumb. I was like, damn, you did this whole setup, and then we have him do some stupid shit where he gets himself injured just so he could run away. So he ran away, and then he said, we need our own army and our own team. And the people in his army team was like nobodies. There's the cop guy and like the bartender lady and all these Karen and a few other people. And like, that's your whole army. And then Kingpin, after he killed the guy, he issued martial law on New York. You're a fucking mayor of a little city or a town. How the fuck are you gonna create cause martial law against the entire state? I don't get that. Unless he's just saying the city of New York. I don't know how he's able to do that. He's saying that all vigilantes are gonna be captured, which doesn't make sense. That would mean Spider-Man and the other Avengers, they're technically vigilantes and mass vigilantes. So they're gonna also be arrested. So he's arresting all vigilantes. We all know what this means, street tier characters, excluding Spider-Man because he isn't a street tier character also, but they're gonna exclude him. So all the other characters, street tier characters that nobody gives a shit about besides the Punisher and Daredevil. So yeah, he said it's martial law. We're gonna arrest them, and I was like, I don't think we can do martial law, honestly. But then he's like, we're gonna have an 8 p.m. curfew. I'm like, you're a fat bitch. For that alone, I would have killed you. Also, 8 p.m. curfews, like early curfews, like that doesn't make any sense because some people work really late. How the fuck am I gonna go to work really late if there's a curfew on me? Unless you're gonna take some hours off of my work, but then I'm gonna get paid less. So how the fuck does that work, man? Like you're fucking on my money up now. And also, these people still support him, and he does this type of shit. So we did see him and Vanessa being cocky as shit. I was like, Vanessa should have died. Fuck that bitch. She should have died. I was hoping she would have died this season. Uh, so we see him walking around. We see all the other. He goes out to his basement area. Now he has all these other guys caged up, all these other vigilantes, and Punisher is also one that he's chained up. He doesn't even say anything, but I'm just like, okay, how does this lead? Because we know the show's coming out, so how the fuck is this going to work? Are they going to lead to him breaking out, or is this going to be a show of what he was doing prior to this? Because I mean, many years have passed, and then he was telling him like, "I'm done" or whatever. Um, so I'm just confused on that. Uh, but yeah, he walks there, they sit and they talk, and then Daredevil sets up his stuff. Now, the ending of this, like I said, I like the episode because of some stuff that happened, but certain things I also didn't like. Also, they did show Bullseye. They showed him in his home and stuff. I was like, okay, he didn't really do anything. So here's the things that I liked about it. I like how it was more brutal. I like how it was a big event. You could feel that it was a season finale. You can feel the intensity of it. It made me really hate Kingpin, which I really liked because he's supposed to be really hated. Matt, it was showing more of how heroic he was. He looked cool in his suit. They had a lot of good stuff, but the big problem for me is a lot of the other writing around it. One, Punisher being stupid with his decision. Matt being dumb as shit for his decision. Also, like he could just let that asshole die. Um, what's the thing called? Bullseye being only shown for that one really episode, and that's where they focused on him. But even then, they didn't focus on him completely. They focused on him a little bit, and then he runs away. He attempts to kill him once, fails, and then runs away. He doesn't try to kill them again. Like, dude, you have like perfect accuracy of killing people with anything. You could have had literally paper clips and killed countless of these guys from a distance. I don't know why he didn't try to do anything. He just ran away. So I felt like they misused both Muse and Bullseye. The only person, once again, they focused on was Kingpin, which I get it, but it's like, you guys need to stop focusing on Kingpin when you have other villains. You're shafting other villains just for this one fat fuck. Give other characters some shine. Like, you don't need to have him as the only villain. We know Daredevil has a bunch of other villains. Why only focus on one? It's kind of fucking annoying at this point. So yeah, Bullseye was not in the episode. I was like, where the fuck is he at? So that was stupid. They only had a little bit of moment ending. I was like, we don't need that, honestly. I didn't need to see those pictures and stuff. You could have just had him excluded at that point. Like, that was fucking dumb. They brought him in to attempt one time to kill him and then fail and then run away. I felt that was stupid. They also killed the Muse off way too early this season. Punisher was dumb as shit and got captured, and I was like, how is his show going to work? Is it going to be him breaking out, which would be weird? Or is it going to be prior to this, which I would prefer him to be more now? Um, and then, there's a couple of other things that I'm kind of questioning, and one thing that in particular that kind of honestly pissed me off. And what really pissed me off about it was they showed, right, Kingpin being brutally killing that guy, right? And I thought that was cool. I like that. Like I say, I like more like gore and stuff whenever it's necessary, not all the time. Like the Boys show, one thing that pissed me off is all they do is try to make it gory. And it's like, you guys seem like you're edgy kids and it's lame. But when it's appropriate, it makes sense. When Kingpin did it, it made sense. So I felt like that was good use of it. But one time I think that they did something bad about it, and this is what really pissed me off, it was with the Muse, right? The Muse, I mentioned the fact that in the comics, he's far more brutal. He's not just some guy who drains blood because he's a sadistic serial killer. And what he did in the show was nowhere near as bad. Yes, he did it also in the comics with draining blood, but that was just one aspect of his art and his way of killing. His other was having people's bodies propped up in certain ways to make a statement or some artistic view, chopping people's like body parts off. He had all that shit. And we see that they obviously are willing to go to the brutal lengths of what we saw what he did to the commissioner. But then when you have a serial killer, which most serial killers do some heinous ass murders, right? You would expect that for the Muse, but then the Muse, they tamed him down a lot. They watered down his violence. The most violent thing is he takes the people's eyes out. Like really, like draining them with their blood and take their eyes out is not that bad. Like obviously, it's not a good thing, but it's not that bad. What Kingpin did was brutal. I just wished and hoped that they did that more for the Muse. That his murders were a little bit more violent and a little bit more sadistic because that's how he is in the comics and that's how serial killers actually are. So it would have been a more proper and accurate depiction of it. It's I don't like when stories shy behind stuff like that, like when horrible things happen like that, like where people do horrible things. Don't shy after over the heinous things they did because if they're willing to do that, then they should be exposed over that. So I felt like they should have shown that. It kinda annoyed me and irritated me that they had Kingpin do it, but then when the serial killer is supposed to be a fucked up murderer, they hide it, and they just show us some blood stuff, like, that's, like, very brutal. The worst thing he did was cut somebody's like, wrist open, and I guess you can say that was a little gruesome. For me, it didn't really do anything. I was like, "Okay, whatever." Um, but I felt like he should have had more killings like how, he had. But still, it makes me excited to see what they're gonna do with Punisher killing. Also, Matt's decision really pissed me off. I really hate how they just ignore all the bad stuff the Kingpin did and pretend like he didn't do any of that, and everybody just lets it go. And the fact that he even won the election at all, like are citizens of New York just like dumb as fuck? Are they just unbelievably stupid? Does their brains are their brains made out of mush or some shit? It makes no logical sense to have him as the mayor. Also, I felt like he didn't get his comeuppance. You know, the whole point of like an ending season finale ending is to have the villain get taken down or get away or at least some pushback. He got no pushback. He literally was able to do whatever the fuck he wanted when he was getting attempted to get assassinated. Somebody else, the hero, protected him. Then when he's doing all this fuck shit, nobody's coming after him. Punisher went after some of his other guys, but they were far away and they take him down easily. And then Daredevil doesn't even fight him because he's too injured and runs away. The entire episode, he was coming after Daredevil, and Daredevil didn't retaliate. And when he had the chance to, he just backed out. And I get it, he was injured, but it's like, well, they didn't have to write him into the story getting injured. They could have wrote it where he doesn't get injured, but they did that on purpose just so they can stretch it out to the next season. So it felt like the season, it was just setting up for the second season, and it felt like I just felt like it wasn't complete, the ending, you know? I felt like they're just like telling us, well, we could end it, but we're not going to. Why not? Oh, we honestly just want to extend it out further for no reason. That's it? You just want to make this longer for no reason? Yeah. So I felt like they could have done something, but they didn't. So it felt like it was lackluster, you know? It felt like it was they were gonna reach the climax of the story, but then they went and they were gonna go fully, and they're like, nah, let's go backwards. They were like going up the mountain to the peak and then turned around and went all the way back down. And they're like, well, wait for us next time. The fuck? So I felt like that was a weird ending. So one, misuse of Muse, two, misuse of Bullseye, and he did show up barely in this episode. Punisher, they made him do the stupidest thing in this story. Daredevil's decisions were dumb as shit. I hated that. His girlfriend's fucking annoying. Also, I forgot to mention the fact that his girlfriend was offered a job by Kingpin to be some mental health, administrator or some shit in his party, and she accepted it. It's like, you dumb bitch, you are fucking annoying. You keep on thinking this guy's a good dude, even though he's a fucking piece of shit, and it's been proven. You are unbelievably stupid. I can't wait until you and Matt break up and then he ends up with that other lawyer girl that was hitting on him heavy because you're dumb as shit. So yeah, uh, I just felt like that was dumb, and I felt like they just kind of said, we could do something better. Fuck it, let's just come back another time." I felt like that was kind of disappointing to see. If Stick saw that, he would have been like, "Pussy." Also, I hope they bring Stick back in the next season. He's a cool character. I forgot, did he die or is he still alive? I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Yeah, they should have brought him back. Um, yeah, I just felt like I was disappointed. And at this point, I think Kingpin deserves to die or be brutally injured to the point. If it was me, look, if I'm Daredevil, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna kill you. I can't kill the guy. so I'm gonna cut off his balls. At least remove all that testosterone from him, all that aggression and anger. Cut off his fucking balls. These guys who get their balls chopped off from, testicular cancer, they usually have lower levels of energy because they lose their testosterone and all that shit. So if you want to weaken this fat fuck without killing him, cut off his balls, turn him into a unit. You know, at least knock him out, pull his pants down, clip his nuts off, shove it down his throat, stomp it into his mouth, break his teeth, you know, do something more brutal because I'm sick and tired of this little bit of ass beatings. He does all this fuck shit, and the only retaliation or pain he gets is a little bit of love taps and a little bit of damage. No, no, no. You have to take his eye out. You have to fuck him up some way. You have to scar him permanently. You can't just do a little bit. I know he has a little bit of scar on the side of his head, but I mean severe scarage. Like, you know how Jigsaw in the comics is fucked up? I want him to be like that. So, yeah. Um, that was pretty much it. I felt like this season was good, but it had some down points and some of the writing was stupid. I think as a whole, the season was a little bit of a letdown. It wasn't bad, but it was kind of a letdown. I think next season is going to be far better. It's going to be more setup and it's going to be less jarring. But this season, it was good. It was just certain things that pissed me off. And hopefully they bring back the muse. Hopefully they make it even more, violent. And hopefully this time Kingpin does get his ass beat. And they finally just beat Kingpin and Vanessa and get rid of those two assholes and then give us some new villains and have Bullseye coming into his suit and having more of a prevalence on him because Bullseye is his biggest villain, even bigger villain to him than Kingpin is. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and stay tuned for next time.